it's Mary from Mary Made a Journal, and I'm here with the final episode of my junk mail junk journal. So all of everything that I've used paper-wise, other than the digitals, were junk and junk mail. And I've attached it. I've got it closed with a thrift shop purchase I made. It was of a work shirt, a man's work shirt, and I just folded it in hand. I couldn't get my sewing machine to go through it, and it would have looked a lot worse, I think, having the stitches. So I hand closed it and sewed the 2 buttons on so that you can have a tie when for the journal. This is the cover page. I don't think it's changed much since the first episode, I think the first time I did it. And it is, the only thing I added, I did add this sewing machine because I realized there was really nothing on the front that signified that it had anything to do with sewing other than the fact that there was a quilt on it. Because originally I was going to go with quilting as a theme for it rather than more generalized sewing. This page is as it was from the last time you saw it. I think I did decoupage it on screen. The first piece of junk mail has an envelope on this side, and in that envelope I've got a digital of flour and several pieces of digital ephemera decorating the page, and it's at the top I've tied a piece of vintage seam binding, and on the back is copy dyed paper. I think this was made with an actual piece of junk mail. I can't remember now to be sure. There's some of them that are very, very thick that were made with, like this one. See, I think this one, that's why I think this is junk mail, because it doesn't feel as thick. These ones that are really thick were made with a packaging piece. In hindsight, I wish I would have kept to be able to use for book covers, because it was that strong, and it was kind of an odd size, but I could make little books out of it. There was a lot of it. It just was not in like cereal box shape where it lent itself to having a book made out of it very easily. So this is a card that's got copy dyed paper on the back. The top's just a tab. It's a circle that I cut in half and attached. There's no window on this side, so it doesn't matter which way you put it in. This one is the one I put in backwards, or I cut the hole on the bottom, is what I did. I was thinking I was making a top tuck, but the book was upside down, it didn't have all the pieces in it that it has now. And so anyway, it became a bottom tuck. And the tab I made just out of some labels that had some numbering on them. And a very simple collage of some sewing, a sewing digital. And then I've got, I don't know if you can see, but there's some sparkly glitter stuff with, what is that stuff called? Stickles. I used some stickles on it. I think that's the only place I used anything like that in the whole journal. But this just looked very drab, and I thought I needed to pick it up a little bit. And on the back is I know this is a JMJJ digital that I had left over from an earlier journal I had made for my daughter. So I know where that one came from. On the other side, I put a little pocket at the bottom, and I've got I've got one tag that has a little charm dangle on it, that has a charm that says "Just for You," and it's got. I picked a red stamp because of the red that was in the quilt that's showing on the card, and obviously the tag was red. So, and then on this, just do a happy dance. That's one of my favorite sayings, and so I put that on it. And inside there's a fold-out piece of copy-dyed paper with lots of writing room, front and back. A little touch of digital ephemera at the top, or digital lace, and the word "Thoughts" stamped on it. The next page has no window on this side. Either the way this book is set up, either every one of these envelopes was a junk mail journal envelope that had a window on it, and the idea was you put it to where, that's why it's odds, they're odd size pages. The idea was that you put the window on one side and made it so that the area that you had here and the area that you had here were about the same. So you're on each page, you're either going to have a window or no window. So this is a no window one, but this is out of a digital freebie from G. Kerr from Happiness and Quilting back in mid 2020. She put out a number of sewing related things. And this just has some of my stamping and a little bit of paper. And then on the actual card, journal card, now this is made out of that really thick thing. So this is very, very sturdy, but at any rate, you've got the ladies quilting on the front. You've got to flip over, and actually the way it goes in is like, the way it goes in is like this. So this is what you'll see on this side, and then this is what you'd see on this side. And on the inside, there's lots of journaling room on both sides. And there's a pocket, or a pocket that has a journal card in it that has a very serious woman, serious looking woman on it, doing some handwork or something up close by the window light. And it's got, you could journal on the back, journal on the back of here, on the, behind the card. It's lots of journaling space on that card. So again, this goes in like this. Okay, so this is one that has the window on this side, and it's decorated with, all of the pages are decorated with sewing related ephemera, most of it being digital. This was a Tim Holtz tag that I actually ended up cutting down some. It was much larger when I started, but it stuck out too far. And I don't know why I'm holding it sideways. It's because my camera is up there sideways, and I'm thinking I'm talking to the camera. But anyway, it's got a little birdie on it, and this is the top off of an old dual duty thread cover, a butterfly, and then thimble, a picture of a thimble and the word thimble and some numbers. So that's what's on there. And then on the back, I've got this beautiful lady quilting, or not quilting, but doing needlework. And this trim, both the small zigzag and the blue seam binding, and this trim I got at a thrift shop. And this is where my book begins. It's blue, turned to blue, becomes predominant, which actually, if you look back at my cover, who'd have thunk? There was a good bit of blue going on in both the front and the back of the inside cover. So I guess I was destined to go there, no matter how it happened. This is an envelope, and this is only one. It is junk mail, but it doesn't have a window in it, so it's in at the halfway point. And so I've got a tag in here that's on that heavy paper. Again, it's got lots of sewing related ephemera on the front, journaling space on the back, and it's on that very heavy card. This one is an idea I stole from Rita Jensen. When she made her junk mail junk journal, she had folded one over, and this was actually my second attempt. My first one was in the orange and blues, and I tried doing it with some art media some mixed media techniques, and it really wasn't working for me. So I ended up just breaking down and doing a whole new card and make it beautiful. And it's got some of that vintage small rickrack and several sewing related pictures on it. And then on the back, it's got documented at the top, and it's got a book page underneath, but then a writing space on top. And this slides into the top. So you follow the instructions on the thing and you pull it out. Oh, and this is the other place where I used something. These are not brads that are on here. I don't know if you can see this or not in the camera. I think I'm out of the light there. But there's, these are just drops of that glue, what's it called? Glossy Accents. The Glossy Accents glue, and I just used them to make pretend brads for the top. So that was my other use of a product like the stickles. And then Betsy Ross, in my mind, she I seem to remember it being top secret what she was doing when she was making the flag, so that's why I did that there. This is one with window showing, and it's another tag that came from a Tim Holtz package. I think it had coins in it, just like the other one. And I've Mod Podged over the top. And on the back, there's plenty of writing space on some coffee dyed paper. And this is just a pull-up card. A seam ripper I put on there, don't know why. But I love this green dress. I was really drawn to the green, and I felt like this lady needed to be in my journal somewhere, or in this journal somewhere. So she made it onto a card that's, again, this is one of those really heavy cards. I mean, really thick cards. And this is the center of the book right here. Over here we have, this is where, and this was in the my original first run through. I had this blue trim decoupaged up here, this blue lace paper, and then I had this picture of a Singer sewing machine with the blue background, and I think that's subconsciously what got me started going the blue route. So inside of this pocket is this, and this piece right here is again on that very thick board. This is made out of an envelope, a flip made out of an envelope, and the way when it sits in there, this is showing on this side, and this pulls out, and on the back there's coffee dyed paper. And I just took a scalloped circle punch I had and cut out a circle, cut it in half, and made a little tab out of it. And the presentation on the back side, this lady and her daughter are stitching. The daughter's taking note from the mother. I just thought it was a real sweet picture, and I loved the look of it, and I was glad that I was able to find it, because it did a really good job. I'm trying to get this, okay. It did a really good job of fitting in this big window here. This is the other half of the business reply envelope that had no window. And again, this is on the heavy cardstock. It's got coffee dyed paper on the back. Actually, there's got an orange tinge to it because for some reason, I did some coffee dyeing and put some orange in it at one point, and somehow that made it onto the back of this card. And this is just a quilt that I was able to find online. And everything is heavily, all of the cards, journal cards, are and the envelopes are heavily collaged. On this one, this little pocket, this is the short side of a pocket. It has a window on the other side. This was one of the flips, like, I don't know what she called it, but Roxy Creation has a weekly challenge, and her last week's challenge was to take a book page and fold it up, fold it over, and make little pockets. And so I did it without going back and looking at her video. And what she had done on hers is she had only decorated, she had writing space back here. But I put a sewing machine picture and then a pair of scissors that kind of go with it over here, and some other ephemera. Here's a little flip tab pocket that you can journal on. And then these two little mini tags I made out of some kind of recycled packaging. And and then on the back, I put writing space. She had made hers, she had designed it with the thought that you would attach it to your journal, but I had a pocket that needed it, so I put that on the back. And this is another a collaged card that has sewing related ephemera on the back. On the back, I didn't actually attach, this is the actual board of whatever I used. It was apparently white. And so rather than putting coffee dyed paper on it, since it was white already, I decided to go ahead and just like do a little all over stamping lightly, and just to provide, so it wouldn't be a white paper, white backing. In this page, I have a little flip with, this is something I got from a thrift shop. It's the letter E. It's coffee dyed. It's not real heavily coffee dyed, but it has been coffee dyed. Clip the corners. And it's just a flip out. And this, like I said, all of the inside pieces here are very strong board. Most of them are very strong board. And so it's easy to write. Like you can write all the way down to here on this side and then flip it over and write here if and this is a very good, it would make an excellent writing board for a journal. And then underneath there's, collaged ephemera, digital ephemera. Okay, then on the back side of this, we have a top tuck. And in the top tuck, we have a picture of women at a quilting bee and journaling space here, just a really thin little pocket to put it in so it would show through the window, best I could get it to show through the window. Now on the other side, this is where a piece of my mixed media work actually made it into the journal. When I did it, I was like, where am I going with this blue? Because I didn't have a clue how the journal was going to end up with all the blue in it, but at any rate it did, and it managed to stay in the journal. And then this is just a little digital card that I printed out, and there's a little corner tuck right there for it. So let's do this in the top. You can see one of the ladies there. This is a little tag, a little tuck I made. This is a quilt I was able to get. I think it's from the New York Public Library. A tag that was the backing of the tag. Is from Pink Monarch Prints. And then this one is the short part. There's no window. And on this side, I just collaged some sewing, people sewing, a woman sewing. I did another flip with an envelope. Inside the envelope flip, there is a little pocket, which this too came from Pink Monarch Prints. A little stamp, copy of the stamp on it, and it just says "Enjoy the Now." I stamped at the top, and you can journal all over it or just in the inside. So that fits right in there, and that goes in there. And of course on the back, you can journal on the coffee dyed paper that's included. And then on the inside of this whole piece, which sits in the journal like this, okay, you pull it out, you've got all of this space available for journaling. All in all, given that there's no really room on most of the envelopes for journaling, there ended up being a fair amount of journal space on the cards and the flips. Again, there's an old picture, reproduction of an old picture of a woman sitting at a table. Looks like she's knitting or crocheting, doing some kind of handwork. On the back, there's some, I don't know if it's coffee dyed paper, but it's got paper on it. It might just be writing paper, but that's what goes in there. And this little trim right here that I have on the side, that was, a thrift store find. And we're already to the end of the journal. And so in this last pocket, it's a short little pocket. I'll just show you the pocket first. On this side, we have a mother and a daughter. The mother's measuring the hem of the dress and adjusting for it. There's a picture. And on this, just various ephemera. And on this card, I've got journaling space here and journaling space here, and then this pulls out, and it's got an image of a dress, and my printer was acting up and doing strange things, so I thought I would try to disguise it by putting some pattern paper pieces over the top. I decoupaged them on. And then these are little pieces of doily and just some circles and a little strip of the, this is a little strip of the paper that this dress came off of. And this is a second use of a tag that I got from Dye at Reflections by Dye. It's a whale tail tab, and there's two of them. There's one earlier, and I forgot to mention it when we passed it by, but that's where the source of my whale tails are, is Reflections by Dye at Etsy. And then on this page here, on this side here, there's plenty of writing room. Flip it over on the other side of the card, and there's a little pocket. And this again is from Pink Monarch Prints. And in this pocket, or in this coin envelope, I guess they're called, there's a small tag. And there's another flip down journaling space that I've stamped thoughts, and I made the tags. It's actually two-sided tag, but because of the flip down, I had to put them both on the same side, or I cut it off probably. I think this one's shorter, but it provides for a smooth flip of the pocket, or of the journaling space. And so that goes in there. This, again, this last page. This is the back. Nothing's changed since I showed it earlier on. And then this is the inside of the back, and then this is the actual back. And I added, since I videoed this, I added this picture, this portrait reproduction of the lady doing handwork. I thought she was really beautiful. And this paper here that I used on this side is some mixed media. I think it was jelly printing that I had done, some jelly printing paper that I had. And so that's the end of the flip through. She's a pretty fat little journal. When I started her out, I wanted to keep her where that inside noise could be, there was a crunchy noise because of the kind of packaging it was, and it's so collaged and decorated that it doesn't, you can't hear the noise anymore. But overall, I'm very happy with it. It was so much fun to do and to make it with everything in here, except for the digitals that I had to print out. Everything in here was something that came off of something, if not vintage, at least thrift stores. So the way you close it up is you pull this longer tab underneath, and then you just do the wraparound thing, and then at the end I do a double flip and keeps it together nicely. But definitely a gator mouth, lots of journaling room, lots of window envelopes. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I have no idea what I'm doing with this journal. I do not have an Etsy store. This is the very first journal I've made that wasn't made for a specific purpose, for a specific person for a specific purpose. And so that's what got me started making this YouTube channel. Was I thought, well, this is something, making this junk mail junk journal is something that I wouldn't do, except for the fact that it was a challenge on Rita Jensen. Well, it was a challenge Rita Jensen took up, and I followed in her footsteps, doing similarly. Of course, she finished hers a good while ago. I had a good bit of vacation time that I took when my COVID shot came into full effect back on April 15th. So I started this prior to that, and I've just finished it up recently. So if there's any interest in purchasing this journal, please leave me a comment and we'll figure something out. I'm not going to open an Etsy store until I have more journals to be able to put in, because I don't have, unless I start selling some of my ephemera, which I could do that too, because I kind of collect and collect and collect, and I probably have more than I'll use. So I might start doing ephemera bundles, don't know. But just give me any ideas you might have in the comments. I truly would appreciate it. Both from the standpoint of making my my future videos, if I should continue, which I'm hoping to, making them better and easier to follow, and maybe getting a little something back from making these journals. Certainly I'm not going to be offended if nobody wants it, because I'll just, right now it's just going to go on my shelf with my other journals that I have, some of which I've purchased and haven't filled out completely. I'm really bad about actually doing the journaling, which I say over and over again, I'm going to be better, I'm going to be better, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and somehow time gets away from me. But that's another issue. I'm just prattling on now, so I'll close by saying thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you're having a wonderful day, that all is well in your life, and you're having a very good crafty time.